Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So now I want to present my assignment about language and society. Language is a differentiator between animals and humans. This is because only humans have language. Language and society are two things that cannot be separated, as we know that the function of language in general is a means of social communication. Language is a place to interact with other people. There is no language without society, and no society without language. With language, it's hoped that people can communicate with each other and understand each other. Language allows people to connect, especially in social life. So, what we gonna learn uh, about language and society? So, it's about what is language and what are its elements. Second, what is a society of speech, or in bahasa we call it masyarakat tutur. And third, what is relationship between language and society? And the first is language and its elements. According to Wardog, language is a set of knowledge that is used to state or express something in the form of sounds, words, or sentence. Meanwhile, according to Chair, language can be learned through the characteristic of language, among others, is that language is a system of symbols in the form of sounds, arbitrary, productive, dynamic, diverse, and humane. According to this expert, I think that language is a symbol of sim is a symbol of symbols used to express ideas in the form of sounds, words, and sentences that have meaning. Based on the understanding above, it can be concluded that something can be called language if it contains the following elements. And the language elements are: first, has a symbol and sound; second, systematic shape; third, contain meaning; fourth, dynamic; and fifth, humane. And the first is has a symbol and sound. Language has symbol and sound. Therefore, language doesn't only contain symbols but also sound. Therefore, a symbol can be said as a language if it has no sound. However, symbol and sounds also cannot be said to be a language if they don't have systematic system. And the second is that language is systematic. The point is, language is composed of certain patterns that are not formed randomly. So I will give an example is that word from bahasa, K, K, A, D, E, R. In this word, there is a symbol that has a sound, or we call it phonetic system, which is systematically arranged. Therefore, a symbol and sound can be said to be a language if it has a systematic sequence. And third, language contain meaning. The section is a mixture of the first and the second elements. As we know that language is symbolized by sound, from that sound it will give a meaning if it has a systematic sequence. And fourth, language is dynamic. Humans and language are two things that cannot be separated. Therefore, with the development of humans, more and more new technologies have sprung up. This has resulted in the language being increasingly developed. It caused there were many new terms appearing. And fifth is human. Language is human. As we all know that The voice of animals and humans are uh, different. Animal communication tools have static characteristics, while human communication tools have dynamic characteristics. So, language has a human nature in the sense that it belongs to humans and can only be used by humans. The second is society of speech, or in bahasa we call it masyarakat tutur. The speech of communication, according to Krida Laksana, is a group of people who feel they have they have a common language or who feel they belong to that group or who adhere to the same standard language. Speech society is a group of people or individuals who interact using a certain language within a certain area. Different regional origin will give birth to various variations which are commonly called dialect. Social and individual factors such as age, gender, religious background, and so on certainly add to the complex form of the language contained in a speech communication. And the third is relationship between language and society. Language and society is a very important subject of study because language and society are closely related and can never be separate. Language and society cannot be separate because language is a distinctive feature of a society, and conversely, people are speakers of a language or what is better known as the speech community. Language is a system of sound symbols used by the community as a means of communication, interacting, and identifying themselves. In sociolinguistics view, a language is also characterized as a means of social interaction and as a means of self-identification. Is according to Chire 1995. Based on the expert's description, there are two functions of language. That is, first, as a means of social interaction, and second, as a tool for self identification. Language is a means of social interaction, means that language is used as a means of communication between communication members in a social environment. In everyday, uh, in a daily life, language is a tool to convey ideas from the speaker to the listeners. Of course, this interaction contains the message to convey to listeners. On the other hand, a language is also a tool for self identification, both individually and in groups. So, the existence of language in society is a reflection of the society. Every member of society, or even individually, has their own characteristic in language. The form of language and communi- community relations uh, is the existence of a relationship between certain language form called variation or dialect with their use for certain function in society. For example, in education activities, we use standard language. For activities that are relaxed, we use non-formal language. This is called using the correct language, which is uh, using language in the right situation or in the context in which we use it. So that's all for my presentation, and thank you.